Hi guys, welcome to Manhood Explained. My name is Camille. Today is 22nd of August 2020. Welcome to video number 239. I want to start talking about kind of more darker sides of manhood, because for the last many videos I basically were trying to be delicate in the subjects that we were approaching, but we've got to talk about the more sinister side of us. Where does it come from? How to deal with this? Because many of us are having so many issues with our lives in a relationship because we don't understand that particular part of this whole story. So first of all, you've got to understand that all of us have a dark side. It's like no one of us is living in a world of sunshine, butterflies, and unicorns. And the problem is that it's it requires you to understand that you have a dark side because there is a reason for it. And if there's a reason for it, you are able to do something about it. But if you're trying to run away from the subject, if you say, no, everything's fine, everything is cool, then when something happens, you react to whatever happened. And then the whole situation takes a life of its own. And you end up in a place that you never wanted to be. And you end up in broken relationships that you never wanted to be. And you end up destroying your own life and life of those that you love, just because you were not prepared to deal with whatever happened. And the understanding that every one of us is having a dark side is a profound one to have. Because if you say, okay, if that's true, then what is mine? What is the thing that I'm struggling with or having, or I kind of went a few steps forward in being negative or seeing some things negative and having a negative way to reacting to it, just because something happened or something is that I don't have something that I want, and that makes you vulnerable, and that's the problem. So first of all, understand that there's a dark side of you, and there's a reason for it, and there's a way out of it. But one more thing before I'm gonna kind of talk about two major ones is that most of us know that, because we heard it so many times, that there are two reasons why we're having kind of problem in life, that we're desiring something, or we struggle with something. And there are two reasons. One, it's a pain. Second is a pleasure. And this is fascinating, because two major reasons why we even have a dark side, why we going crazy about some things, is based on both. Because the point number two, the first reason, or the first dark side that you might have, is something connected to anger. And if you listen to one of my videos, or maybe you just listen to smart people about men and how we behave, how we wired, you understand that the way we kind of channel our frustration, our pain, our kind of dissatisfaction in whatever we experience in life when something goes wrong, as we go towards anger, and then from anger we go directly straight to violence. That's why it's obvious to see that wherever there's a poverty, there's a violence, because this is how we as men react to it. And that's why in most of the cases, if you see poverty somewhere, there's men who are going towards violence. That's it. And in that respect, I really agree with Dan Pena, who basically says that the root of all evil is poverty, not money. You know what he means by that? That if you are poor, that pushes you towards being aggressive because you try to survive. And the same kind of trajectory you're pushed through when something bad happens, like you've been bullied, maybe you've been beaten, maybe you've been abused. This is how we run away from pain. And the way to deal with pain for us is go towards anger, and if that's not enough, going towards violence. So if your dark side is connected to one of these, you've got to understand that there's pain that you're trying to run away from. And there can be like a million things that makes this thing happen. Maybe you're in a abusive family. Maybe your father or your mother were abusive. Maybe, you've been abused in so many different ways. If there's pain, you've got to run away from it or deal somehow with it. Sometimes you'll be able to kind of go through some healing process. And, I'm not a specialist in that area, so I'm not going to be telling you what to do. But there are so many people that you can go and try to get help from that might help you to heal from the past that was painful. But sometimes maybe you live like in a really bad neighborhood. The only one, you're not going to change it. So the only way to kind of deal with this dark side that was born in you because of the situation is to leave, is to move out. And I know that it's easy to say, but you've got to see what are your options. So if you see that your dark side is connected to anger or violence, you've got to understand that it's about pain that you're running away from, and you've got to find a way to deal with it. And there's second thing. This is point number 3 about the second problem, that the reason for you having dark side, and that's a pleasure. And you can say, how can I have a dark side because of a pleasure? You see, the problem is that you can have a dark side because you don't have what you need. And if you look at, again, I've talked about it before. If you look at men, the problem is that as every human being, we need to feel loved, we need to feel accepted, we need to feel taken care of, safe. And if you look close enough, if you're a mature guy like me or whatever, what does it mean? What does it means? That if you're a mature guy, if you look close enough, especially if you're in a relationship, the way we achieve that is by being physically intimate. So that's why so many guys who are unfulfilled in their life and having this dark side kind of being born inside of their head, inside of their heart, inside of their being, is because they are not fulfilled in that area. And you see, as with anger and violence, you can see the same thing in here. That if you don't have it, it just makes you go towards this negative way or negative things that help you deal with this. And in this particular area, there are 2 ways that men have tendency to try to fill this void. One, sexual encounters in however you can, and then it goes towards all of this over-sexualization 2.0 that I call it right now. Then saying that you can sleep with everyone. That's a great idea, and then you just try to feel better, feel loved, even though you know this is just one night stand. And then it's just propagating the same pain because you're not able to fill it up with this way. And this is why I want you to understand that if you're going to stay with this problem not fixed, you're going to go to the way of number 2, which is much worse. And it's, as far as I heard, this is really hard to get back from. Because you're going to go towards using anger and violence in a sexual way. That's why so many people who are so desperate in that area, they might go towards rape. Or doing some crazy stuff like, drugging girls just to sleep with them. And you see, that's the huge problem, because now, okay, I understand we've got a dark side. I understand that one of them is anger and violence. Second is this lack of being loved and taken care of, and that's why it might go towards some sexual deviancy. But how do I deal with this? And you see, the problem is the way this whole world works right now. It's going to keep you under the lid, and it's going to keep you in this vicious cycle of being in this whole craziness. Because look at the movies, look at Hollywood, look at the video games. What is propagated towards anger and violence? Revenge. Someone did something bad to you. You've got to get back on them. You've got to just prove that you're I don't know, bigger, stronger, that you're much more violent than they are. And listen, I'm just saying, because I watched the last Rambo today, and I'm just watching it, and it was crazy movie. And then I just sit there and just thought, wow, I'm smart enough to understand that this is a movie, and I'm not a violent guy. But if you are living in the poverty, like we said, what is the answer that you see to the problem? That's why so many people go that way and try to use violence and get back on each other. And revenge is the one way to live. That's it. But will that help you? Is that something that will help you kind of heal from the pain, or just separate yourself from it? No, it's going to propagate it. That's why you've got to understand that there are solutions that are given to you, they're not going to work. And in the second reason for our dark side is, as I said, you're not feel fulfilled, loved, and so on. So how do you think sleeping with hundreds of girls will help you? And this is obvious, because there are scientific papers written on that sleeping with many partners it drastically lowers your possibility or ability to have long-term relationship. And that's why you see those families that you fall in love, you get together, it's awesome, it's cool, and then a year later you completely destroy it. Because then you think about sleeping with someone else, or just run away, do something crazy. You've got a kid, but then you're never there. All of the things crumbles just because you stop feeling this butterflies in your stomach. Really? So then think, how is that going to help you? How is thinking that marriage it's not working, that sleeping with so many people is going to help you somehow? And then you've got like 10-15 years of sleeping with everyone, then you want to get married, and you think you're just going to switch? It's going to be that easy? It won't, brother. So that's why I want you to kind of look at this and understand that there is a way to get out of it, to have this pain or this pleasure that you want fulfilled, to deal with it. So your dark side would be kind of put asleep to some degree. But you've got to understand that the solutions that you get from the world was not going to work. They're not going to help you. Because this is what I want you to take from this video. If you understand that you've got a dark side, if you're able to look at it, sit down, really think about it, and see, okay, I've got a problem with anger, or with violence, or I've got a problem with sexual things. I now understand the reason. Now you'll be able to see what was really the problem, or what is really the problem, and how you're supposed to deal with it. Because there are solutions. There are people who are helping others dealing with this. But there's going to be nothing that most of us get from the movies, videos, or whatever happens in our society right now. So that's why the one thing that I want you to understand is that you have it. There's a way of dealing with it. So be smart enough to be aware of it and look for right solutions. So think about it and do something about it, because the solution is in your reach. But you will have to be smart to get it. If you like this video, like, share, and comment. If you didn't, comment as well. Tell me what you think and what is your experience. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, just give me a shout. I'll be glad to do it for you. That being said, see you tomorrow.